What's up, guys, and welcome to the first episode of this YouTube channel. I decided to make a new YouTube channel dedicated to car washing, right? I love car detailing. I love maintaining my cars, right? We have an X7 out over there. We have my G80 M3 over here. On this new channel, I'm gonna take you guys throughout my wash process, showcase my different wash methods between a 2-bucket method, 1-bucket method, no bucket method, to waterless washes. And it's also for me to just get behind the camera and just maintain my vehicles. And I know a lot of people on my main channel, if you guys haven't seen my main channel, it's called The Daily Driven. And I showcase a lot of BMW content. So I just figured, and it was a good suggestion from a buddy of mine, Ben, and he was like, you should make a channel called The Daily Details. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're gonna get a thorough wash into my M3. It's been sitting for a while. It was at the dealership for some warranty work. And it's not Ben's fault because he does work at that dealership, but it's been sitting for a while and there's a lot of rain and dust that, caked onto here. So we're gonna have to get down and dirty and get it all cleaned up. For me, this is probably the dirtiest this car has ever been. And, for the most part, hopefully you guys enjoyed this channel. And it's a little bit more raw. I have my camera set up here, so there's a little POV action along with just thorough details. And if you guys have any suggestions or any tips and tricks, let us know down in the comments, because this is a community where we can all share ideas and also techniques. And I'll take you guys along the journey of what I use and some of the products I use. But in this video, we're gonna be using our brand new to me 2.3 pressure washer. Active just sent over this Active 2.3 pressure washer. And what's different about this compared to the 2.0 is that the 2.3 has more robust mechanicals inside, especially made for the people that may do car detailing and also a lot of other things on the side for like mobile detailing. But what I do like about the 2.3, from what I've tested right now, there's definitely a different pitch. It's not as loud as the 2.0. 2.0 is pretty loud. This is a new design. I know they recently came out with a 3.0, which is supposed to be lower decibels than the Krenzla. I do have a Krenzla here, which is gonna be my main pressure washer, but I definitely wanna give this one a test out and see how this compares to the Krenzla. But I know the Krenzla has been the king of all pressure washers for the longest time, but can the 2.3 actually make me wanna switch? But along with my whole wash system, I have the Obsessed Garage kind of wash system. Don't mind the wires now because this is temporarily set up because I don't know which pressure washer I'm going to use going forward, but after today we're going to decide that. But this is temporarily, and we're going to mainly have the main pressure washer up on top. But you can see I have my CR spotless system. This here is to make sure that all the hard water is being taken out as we rinse the car, soap the car, and also just wash the car, right? Because water in general has minerals in it, and it could leave stains on your paint. And also, if you have your car PPF, it could leave stains on your PPF too. So I will be posting 2 videos, right? One on my main channel, which is Daily Driven, like I mentioned, and also this video is gonna be a little bit more thorough, which you'll see in this video. But let's get to it. First thing we're gonna do, obviously, is to get the wheels done. The wheels are very dirty. We're gonna go full DI, making sure that the water is purified. Again, don't mind the mess here. We're gonna eventually figure out which pressure washer we're gonna use for the long term. But very thankful for Active for sending me out the 2.3. It's been a pressure washer that has, I guess, appeased a lot of other people. So I'm very happy to use it and test it out. All right, so normally I wouldn't use wheel cleaner on these custom BBS wheels because they have polished lips, and if you have the improper wheel cleaner on here, what happens is you can stain these lips and then you're gonna have to sit there and polish it by hand again, which for me, I'm just gonna use a mixture between car soap and also my DI water in here that's already been filled. But we're gonna rinse the wheel off and then start scrubbing. You can see, hopefully on this camera view, you can see a lot of the gunk on the tires. I think I have a little bit more of a wheel cleaner that has a chemical that actually helps clean the tires, which again, a lot of people don't clean the tires, but you can see the browning here. This is pretty bad. Just turning the machine on, it definitely reminds me of how much quieter the 2.3 is as compared to the 2.0. And for the ones that are wondering why am I washing the car inside the garage, it's because I can. And number two is that you never want to wash the car in the sun. If you wash it in the sun, you're going to have high possibilities of having water etchings and also stains. So hence, it's always good to do in the shade, and also it's also good to do it in the garage if you can. What I do is leave my doors open for a little bit. Today is like 60, 50 degrees, so it's pretty good. The humidity is low, so all the water that's going to be in this garage will be evaporated pretty quickly. You can definitely feel the pressure on the pressure washer. The 2.3 is a lot stronger than the 2.0. There's a lot more flow that's coming out of the machine. But what I'm gonna do is, if you guys don't know, because I'm posting this video on my new YouTube channel, we have air cups in this car. So I could raise the car up like that, so I could clean the wheels, the wheel well a lot easier. And hopefully like this new POV type of setup. I think it'll be pretty cool. And a lot of people don't really clean their tires, they kind of forget. But tires are very important, especially if you want to get your tire shine on there properly. Because think about it, a lot of the gunk and stuff that you drive in the rain, and whether if you're living in the tri-state up in New York or something like that, you deal with the snow, a lot of stuff gets gunked on. So it's always good to clean it. Now, I was mentioning to you guys earlier, the reason why I like a pressure washer that's quieter is because my son is sleeping. Thankfully, my wife's inside the house monitoring that and, you know, doing some more errands around the house, is that I'm washing my car when he's napping. So it's easier for me to do dad duties later on. These wheels are probably filthy. And sometimes if you guys don't wash your car often and stuff, and you guys, you know, drive it once in a while, sometimes you don't need all that wheel cleaner. You know, sometimes it's kind of overkill. Just soap and water does a good job, especially if you have ceramic coated wheels. And if you do have ceramic coated wheels, one thing that's good about just using soap and water is that you're gonna allow your ceramic coating to maintain a lot longer. I do have a wash mitt, right? And I use a full-size wash mitt to clean the wheels, because a lot of times when I've used other situations, I've had my fingers and stuff get all jammed up from the exposed hardware and stuff. So it's good to use a wash mitt like this that covers everything, your fingers, your hands, so you're not scarring your hands up. But these wheels are a little bit more pain to clean, not as a pain to clean as the stock wheels. But these have a lot of details in it, which you can see right now as I'm going through the spokes and everything. But I like these wheels. I don't know if I like these wheels more than my E88s, which my E88s you can probably see on the outer view of the video. You can see it on the wheel rack over there. But there's a lot of crevices to get in here, right between the bolts. And obviously you can't get everything because you're not gonna be able to get everything in the back unless you take the wheel off. And for the ones that don't know, I don't have air cups in the rear, just only in the front. A lot of times you only need it in the front anyway. You could do air cups front and rear, but I just didn't see the need for that. You do feel the pressure when you rinse the car off, and also when you apply the foam, which I did right now on the wheels. There's a lot more, I guess, flow, hence the 2.3, right? But it's always good. Here's a tip, or no pun intended, but a lot of the times when you use the Easy Detail Brush or another company, a lot of times the tip of this actually gets worn out, and behind here is actually very sharp metal. So I would always double check this, because if you don't, you're gonna have that sharp metal tip mar the hell out of your barrels and your wheels. So mine's good now. It's relatively new, but I feel in the next couple months, which is a design flaw from them, I'm gonna have to replace that tip. And you can buy some of those tips actually on Amazon. Pretty simple to do. But one thing I like about this whole setup, if you guys don't know, I do have some carbon ceramic pads that gives me so much less dust. So I'm not dealing with the cleaning issue all the time. And for a car that's been sitting for a while, I would expect a little bit more dust, but the wheels weren't too bad. The majority of the dust and nastiness was actually on the surface of the car, which you've seen on part of the video. But I really do hope you guys like these type of videos. It's always good for me back when I was learning how to, properly wash a car and stuff like that. I learned from other people's YouTube channel. So hopefully this gives you a little more insight and also some relaxation sometimes, because I don't know, for me, it was always relaxing. It's kind of weird watching other people wash their car, or my dream car, right? Because at the time I couldn't afford one. But the reason why you start with the wheels first is because that is the dirtiest portions of the car. And a lot of times you don't want to have the car wet with standing water and letting it dry, because that allows to have water spots, which is why hence you want to do the wheels first. And plus, sometimes the wheels, depending on how intricate your wheels are, could take longer. Hence, look at these wheels. These are a lot of like different details you got to deal with. Use different tools to clean them. Yeah, this side was a lot dirtier. But you can see the browning on the tire, and that browning means the dirt's coming off. Definitely a lot dirtier than I normally keep it. But it's good to get a tire brush where you could get all the gunk off. All right, since the car is very dirty, as you saw in the previous clips, we're gonna be using a preventative step, right? This is Gion's Q2M foam. And what I like to do with this, I don't use it all the time, especially, you know, when the car is properly maintained. But as we mentioned earlier, the car has been sitting for a while, so all that dust and stuff, this is gonna help emulsify a lot of that caked on dust and also grime. It's not gonna be perfect, but this is a preventative step to help you prevent from, you know, marring your paint, messing up your PPF or scratching it up. Like, sure, PPF is self-healing, but why not take the preventative steps? You know, if it's a product that can cost you a few bucks, in the long term would be more beneficial. So we're gonna add some of this to the foam gun. Again, this is something I don't do all the time, but since the car is very dirty, I'm gonna do it. And we're gonna lower the car because now the car is fully washed for the wheels. Yeah, with the push of a button, it goes back to your static height, which is amazing. The good thing about doing this extra step for you guys on camera, we get to see the car foam twice. So you're gonna wanna wait about a few minutes for the foam to activate and also to emulsify the dirt that's on the surface. So I like to wait like 3 to 4 minutes. If you're doing it outside and it's a hot summer day, you definitely don't want this product to stay on the car, because what happens is if it dries up, it's definitely doing you a disservice. So since we're inside, the humidity's low and it's cool and we're in the shade, I'm gonna let it sit for like 3 minutes and then we'll tune back in and then we'll rinse this car off. All right, so we waited about 3 minutes. The product should have done its job. We're gonna pressure wash it off and then kind of do a little inspection of how well it did, right? So I'll take you guys a little further in to see all that. All right, let's take a little closer look. All right, a lot of the water spots I was seeing earlier, I can't really see it anymore. It may have mixed in with some of the, obviously the water bubbles that are going on now. But again, it's not miracles, but it's also a preventative step to making sure that you properly clean your car when it's very dirty. Again, I don't use this all the time, but it's also a step you can use if you guys are pretty OCD like myself. But I'll leave everything I'm using in my description so you can take a look at it yourself. For the primary wash soap we're going to be using is G80 Bathe. This is something that you can get on Amazon. Very easy to use. The slickness, the mount, a little bit goes a long way. So we do have it in the wash bucket, and also we're going to have a rinse bucket too, because again, this car was very dirty. So technically we're doing the 2-bucket method. What I do need eventually is some wheel dollies so I can move around my wash and soap bucket a lot easier. And if you guys could do me a solid, hit the thumbs up. It definitely helps my channel out. And also, if you guys like the content you're watching, consider subscribing. Because I feel like I need to remind you guys, because that's what YouTube normally does. But I do enjoy making these videos. So let's start from the top of the car. And the reason why you want to start with the top of the car is because you want all the dust and also the grime to leave the top of the surface towards the bottom as you're going through the rest of your car. And a good thing that I'm feeling now is that I don't feel a lot of grittiness after I take the mitt over the surface, which is a good sign. That means nothing has been caked onto the car, because that was one of my biggest fears, right? Leaving the car outside and not having it protected. So definitely it's doing a good job from the ceramic coating, and just going over it with my hands, it definitely feels good, thankfully. But my initial impressions of the Active 2.3 is that the 2.3 is, there's definitely a lot more power to it. So if you had to make a decision between the 2.0 and the 2.3, by all means skip the 2.0 and go for the 2.3. There's definitely a price difference, but that price difference is made up by the performance. Me being able to have both, I definitely enjoy using the 2.0, but the huge benefits of the tone difference, right? It's a lower of a pitch than the high pitch from the 2.0, and the performance of the GPM is very noted, right? From at least my point of view. What I do like about the 2.3 is that you definitely feel the flow. It allows you to foam the car up so much more easier. Not that it was difficult with the 2.0, but you definitely feel the power difference. Rinsing the car off, it definitely became easier, but you definitely felt like there was more pressure and you definitely felt the flow. But what's gonna happen is there's gonna be a lot more water in this garage, which is not a big deal. Because what I could do is, since it's, again, low humidity today, pretty cool, I could leave the garage doors open and let Mother Nature do what it needs to do. And then if I'm really OCD about it, I could run my dehumidifier, and at that point, it should get rid of all the moisture in the garage. And you definitely want to be able to wipe down all surfaces, but I could definitely tell all my ceramic coating is still working because it's just fighting the soap away. And then for the ones that don't know, you should, when you wash your car, you don't want to go in circles. Not meaning you're going to get less swirl marks, meaning though, if you go up and down, side to side, if you do scratch your paint, it'll just be easier to get out. That's the only reason why you would want to not do circular motions. And you definitely want to utilize both sides of the mitt. I know a lot of people just stick to one side sometimes and they forget, but there's two sides to your mitt. So the ones that are probably wondering, what am I washing on top of, right? You see these tiles on the floor? These tiles are Swiss tracks. And what I do like about them, they have channels. So all the water from that end, it's going to be funneled towards the bottom of the garage. And most garages, it is an egress, right? So the water does slope down. So normally you don't have water pooling towards the house. That's why I can wash my car in the garage. But I do want to thank the team over at Active for sending over the 2.3, and also a few years ago they sent over a 2.0. Definitely enjoy using it. If you guys have any questions or anything about this machine, let me know in the comments. We'll definitely see some more vlogs with the Active 2.3. And obviously on my other channel, which we're going to do a little bit more of car detailing, you'll see a lot more using different techniques and also different machines possibly. All right, let's rinse the car off. All right, the next step would be to rinse the car off. And again, same thing, you want to start from the top to bottom because you're blowing all the water from the top away. It sucks when you do it from the bottom to the top because you're just doing twice the work. All right, the car is fully done. It looks brand new again. Got to touch up certain spots with a drying towel, but the car cleaned up very well for how dirty it was before. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of video. And if this is your first time tuning into any of my content, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the content. But just like that, I want to thank you guys again for watching this video. If you guys haven't seen my main channel, definitely check that one out. I'll leave it linked down in the description. I do want to thank Active for sending over the 2.3. And I can't only imagine what the 3.0 is going to be like. If the 2.3 is pretty impressive, I'm blown away what the 3.0 is going to be like. But if you guys could do me a solid, hit the thumbs up, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.